Good evening. Welcome to the Alpha Shift podcast. I'm David Kruger, and I'm going to be your host tonight. I am on my own. I don't have Don. I don't have Brian. I gave everybody the night off. I have a very special treat for you tonight. I've got an exclusive interview with a dear friend of mine, and his story is going to be very relevant to listeners of the Alpha Shift podcast, to subscribers to the newsletter. Most of the guys who are fans of the Alpha Shift, who listen to what I have to say, let me talk about who a lot of these guys are before we get started. Guys in their 30s, 40s, men who are in a marriage that is falling apart, where they're not happy, their wife isn't happy, kids are suffering, perhaps someone's cheating. It's going on more and more in today's society. Many men are recovering after a divorce. That's been me. A couple of times. I've been divorced once, but had a few relationships break up, and these things hurt. And we're all trying to be better men. And the gentleman I am going to be talking to tonight was married. He's a good friend of mine, a pharmacist, drugstore owner in Nova Scotia, way up in Canada. Married for 20 years. Divorced. And 5 years later, back in love with his wife, remarried. The family is thrilled. It's a wonderful story. It's the sort of story that so many men fantasize about. They wish they could put their life back together. So many times I've had to advise men, no, you've got to move on. You just can't do it. But they would do anything to put their situation back together. And so I'm so excited to have Hugh on tonight. Say hello, Hugh.
Hello, everybody.
I'm so glad to have you on, buddy. I want to hear about your story. I want to hear, really kind of, we're going to just take me along the timeline. Tell me a little bit about you. Hugh and I got to be friends in a success club, international success club called the Global Information Network. We study the law of attraction. We study success principles. We take full responsibility for our lives. And so Hugh ain't no putz. This is not a guy who just happened into success. He kind of knows what he's doing. So Hugh, I'm going to set you up for that so you can go ahead and talk about what you know. Hugh, you are talking to men in their 30s and 40s whose marriages are in trouble and who are looking for answers. And so I would love to find out. Tell me a little bit of the backstory about how you and Sandra got together and kind of how things went and how you got to the point where you kind of went your separate ways.
Wow. As you're talking, David, by the way, David, the moment I met you, you just had this energy about you that was amazing. I'm getting chills just listening to your voice, listening to your intonations and your, sincerity and what you're bringing to the world of, which is a pretty complicated world where guys are going through some stuff and everybody's going through stuff. We all have a story. And I certainly have mine. It is a little fascinating, even to me, to be honest with you, because it's been a roller coaster ride. But I think because of part of our training in the latter part of it, I've been able to pull things together and really, find new ways of looking at old situations, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you recontextualize things.
Sorry?
It's like you recontextualize things. You can see an old situation in a whole new light. Yeah.
You can what I call reframe things. You can look back and tell a new story instead of telling the same old story, because the same old story keeps you stuck in the same old place.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of transparency. I'm 55 years old, so I'm a couple of decades older than your audience, but in a way that's good because I've been through a lot of shit myself. I don't know if you do say that on your show, but anyway.
Absolutely. It's all right. You should hear a couple episodes with my brother on here. It's like fuck every other word. So yeah, if he doesn't get me demonetized, nobody will. So yeah.
I appreciate that because sometimes my mouth can get a little.
That's okay.
But anyway, no, I'll give you a bit of that backstory. Let's dive right in.
Yeah.
I was in university, pretty good-looking guy, athletic guy, good personality. I always had lots of friends, wonderful parents. I didn't have a sad story growing up. Did really well in school. Just had a lot of good things going for me.
Sure.
And there's no real buts. But as the story unfolds, you'll see a few twists and turns as well.
Sure.
didn't have a lot of people that went to university. My older brother's a bit of a genius. He ended up getting his doctorate in, he builds microchips and things like that. I mean, I don't even know what he does, but I did well in school, didn't know if I should go to university. I'm from a farming background, potato farm.
Okay.
Not many of my uncles went, but anyway, so I ended up going to university. And my first twist was I was valedictorian in high school, a very small high school, athlete, just foolishness. But I mean, there was only 50 something in the class, so you had a pretty good chance.
Okay.
So fast forward, we get into university. I hit a depression because, I mean, I tell you about my accolades in high school because I remember standing on stage saying, wow, what a ride. It's a long way down from here because I'm going to be a small fish in a big pond.
Interesting.
So I kind of painted a scenario where I was going to take a little bit of a dip, a bit of a depression.
Okay.
So we can talk about that. That's another part of the story. But while I was in university, I met, lots of women, had dated a little bit, but nobody really grabbed me. Nobody really, turned me on to say, geez, I'd love to spend the rest of my life with this woman.
Okay.
So we're out downtown one night, and we're a bunch of guys. We're practicing for a skit night or something. Went out for a beer, and there was a table of girls sitting down below us. And you do that proverbial scan around the table to see who's your type,
Oh yeah.
And there she was in a white sweater. It was just like, you know what? She's gorgeous. Her energy's good. She's laughing a lot, and I was drawn to her.
Right.
So, I got up the courage to kind of approach her that night, and we hit it off, and kind of sparked a relationship there and then. So, but she was the first girl that ever really challenged me to say, you know what, this woman here's got enough depth. She's so talented. She's good at everything she puts her hand to. She's a good cook. She's beautiful. She's sexy. She's just everything I'm looking for in it. Like I spent my whole life looking for that girl, and there she was.
There she was. It's like you had chemistry together. It's like you had chemistry together, and she had all these wonderful attributes.
Yeah, she had everything I was looking for. Like There's nothing this woman couldn't do. She was talented. She was smart. She was a nurse. It was just wonderful. I was going into the healthcare professions, and we had a lot in common. And it was love at first sight. I mean, when I think about it, I don't talk about that much, but for her and I, that's what happened.
Nice. Okay, so it was love at first sight. A relationship grew out of that. Ultimately, you were married.
Yeah. So ultimately, we're married. This was in Nova Scotia. It was in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Yep.
I took a job in the neighboring province, my home province of New Brunswick. So she had to. We were dating, and she had to move in order for her to be closer to where I was with my work. It caused a few ripples, but we figured it out. Ended up, I was a pharmacist for my first year. I got a call from Shoppers Drug Mart, the biggest chain in Canada, drugstores, to be the owner of a drugstore in my own hometown.
Oh, dang.
8 months out of school, had no business training, but I got the call. I'm an ambitious guy, and I said, I'm going. So she hadn't even unpacked in Fredericton where she was living, and I said, honey, I got to take this. This is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah, you're an entrepreneur now. You're like, you own your own store. I mean, that's like, wow.
Yeah, so let's move 3 hours upriver. So she had to repack. We had to figure out our new living situation.
Sure.
In the backyard of the mother-in-law, right? The future mother-in-law.
Right.
So anyway, we got married in 89. I started the store. I had a great career off the bat, get going. I was, like I said, 8 months into my career as a pharmacy, and I'm a pharmacist owner with potential in my own hometown. Hey, couldn't be
nice. Yeah.
Family. We had a beautiful boy, healthy boy. We were elated. We spent 5 years in Grand Falls. I have an opportunity to take a new store.
Okay.
In southern New Brunswick. So 5 years later, we move. That particular situation I thought was going to be spectacular, but when I got there, I found out the expenses were over the top. I think I was paying $80,000 taxes just for the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, no kidding.
And I reached out and I said, what do we do? and they said, look, I said, I want out of here. I said, give me another store. So
Mm-hmm.
it just so happened that the store in her mother and father's hometown, which is Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, came up.
Was she happy about that?
She was happy because we spent our first part of our life in my hometown. We met halfway. It didn't work out, and a store came available in her hometown.
Okay.
A little bit of tit for tat.
Sure.
So we had a second child. Long story short, 2 children. We only have a boy and a girl. In Cape Breton, we call that a millionaire's family when you get one of each. But maybe it's because it costs $1 million to put them through school. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, so we were doing good, but it's the same old story. You're busy. You get kids. You're running a business. 2 people are working. You get 2 young kids. Thank God we had her mom and dad because they did everything in the world for us. They were babysitters. They would in the fall, and it's just, help with the cooking. And so we had lots of support.
Yep.
In and amongst that, by the way, I suffered from deep, dark depression. That's a side story, but
why do you think? I guess without getting into too much of a sidetrack, why do you think that is that you suffered from that deep, dark depression?
Well, knowing what I know now, I think I created it. Because
Okay.
I didn't have the training to understand that ultimately I make the decisions that have the effect on my life, and nothing outside of me really comes into play. But back then I didn't realize that the buck stopped here.
Right.
Probably some blaming and some outside, some poor moves, and some I was insecure in different ways and young in different ways, and I just let the momentum get a hold of me, really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's real. That is really what it is, and that is taking ownership of a depression. That's exactly what happens. Because I was wondering if you thought it was something extraordinary, because before that you were talking about how you had a couple of kids and the parents were helping out, and you are telling a story that is exactly what's happening with a few friends of mine I have right now. I mean, I am one of these rare people who I don't have kids. But a lot of friends my age have young kids, and I have this one guy, he's a former gin friend. He's formerly of gin, and he reschedules 4 times because he's getting girls to school and stuff and everything else. And he's like, oh my God, it's so exciting when he can meet with me for breakfast on a Tuesday. But it's like a rare thing because he's running all the time, and
and in today's day and age, we give everything to our kids. Back when I was growing up, the mother and father, they'd open up the door and you'd run out in the field and they'd say, come back for supper or you're going to go hungry.
Right.
They're pilots, and you have to have them in every AAA hockey and AAA volleyball and AAA, you got to have them in the golf program and the curling program. And it's just, the parents put them in too much, my personal opinion.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think that's a bit much? Yeah. Yeah. It seems to me like that's a bit much. It's a bit much for the kids and it's a bit much for the parents.
Yeah. Pick a lane. Find out what they're good at and immerse them in it. But what happens is the parents put themselves last.
Yeah.
Everybody's exhausted. They don't have time for sex. They don't have time for each other. They don't have time to share a meal.
Right.
They're breaking down because you're not doing the self-care. And that's the positive side of my depression, because it's another side story for another show. But
sure,
I learned for me that by working on myself and facing my situation and my challenges, I became passionate about mental health, and that's my sweet spot, my specialty within my pharmacy world.
Awesome.
So you take your downsides, and you
awesome.
Yes. They show up in your life for a reason, and you milk them, and it catapults you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the contrast in your life is what helps create you. It's a blessing. It really is. Yeah. Yeah. A point you just made right before about how, you get busy and there's no time for sex. There's no time for intimacy in the relationship, and the marriage breaks down. Parents are spending so much time, making sure the kids get to hockey practice and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, your relationship breaks down and the kids suffer when their parents separate. It's like you're.
That we got to put. I tell all my patients in the pharmacy, I say, pretend that your sternum is a vase, okay? Mm-hmm. And you got to fill yourself up first before you can help anybody else.
Yeah.
But everybody's depleted. There's no water in the vase.
Right.
So you have nothing to give. And so, why are you surprised when things don't work and things break down? Because your adrenal glands are exhausted, right?
Right.
You're just trying to give from an empty well.
Yeah. You're giving from, you have nothing. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so this went on for a few years.
It went on for a few years. Married for 20 years. So I went from one store to a second store to a third and a fourth store. So I'm burning at both ends, right?
Okay, you're burning the candle at both ends. You're getting, yep.
Right.
Yep.
But we're young. I'm at the stage where all your listeners are at. They're ambitious. They may have children. They've got wives. They've got good intentions. You want to bring home the bacon.
Yep.
So you're burning it, but at the same time, you're not filling it up at the same time.
Right.
So your wife appreciates that she gets the dress. She gets to put the kid, dress the kids properly and give everybody good nutrition if you can.
Right.
And get everybody in all the sports. But at the end of the day, everybody's depleted. And everybody's running around like chickens with their head cut off.
Yep.
And, you're only going to do that for so long before something breaks, right? Something gives.
Yes.
So the hose breaks, and then you say, oh, my God, that was right out of left field. I had no idea that was going on, whether it's infidelity or just drifting.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's lack of connection. And you first of all, you lose the connection with yourself.
Yes.
Start right there. And then if you're not connected to yourself, how can you connect to another? So you lose connection with your partner. Then you're tired and you're burnt, and you don't have time to give to your kids, and everybody feels it, right?
Yeah.
Then the sex wanes, and then sometimes people go looking elsewhere, or you just don't connect, and that's not good because you can't go through life. You can't be in your 30s and say, I think I'm just going to spend the rest of my life sexless and pretend that everything's okay. And
right. Yeah, it's almost like it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. I mean, infidelity is a horrible thing to go through, but also so is isolation. And I think that what the actual circumstances sometimes are almost incidental, because what it really is a breakdown, and you lose each other, you lose yourselves, you lose each other, and you're lost and you're adrift. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, you talked about contrast earlier. Well, my story is riddled with contrast.
Okay.
And I mean, in the information that we study, we realize that nothing can be created without contrast, because that's where the new idea is born.
That's exactly right.
Go to a buffet table and you've got contrast. Oh my God, I hate the taste of that. Well, move down the table. You're going to find something you like, because when you compare it to what you hated.
Yeah. Yeah. Because beauty isn't possible to recognize without ugliness. Without the contrast. Yeah.
Exactly. So we live in a dualistic world,
Yes.
and everybody doesn't want to see the downside, but it's the downside that sheds the light on the positive side.
Yeah, they need each other. They need each other.
We're not in outer space here.
Right.
You need the contrast.
And we're not in the nonlinear spiritual domain either. We are in the physical dualistic plane. That's where we live. Yeah.
That's where we live.
That's where we live. It's a lot of fun, but it is what it is.
So everything's hunky dory. 87, 97. 2007, 20 years married. Hey, quite a milestone. Good for you.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
I'm the owner of a huge, 10, 12,000 foot drugstore, the biggest store in town.
Okay.
I'm in the Rotary Club. She's got great friends. I have a relationship with the doctors, and we have good friends. And on the surface, things look like I'd love to be that guy.
Yeah, you sound like a very successful guy, a very successful family, someone I would want to be. Yeah.
Right. Whip the covers back. We're broke. One of us spends money we don't have.
Wow.
The other one's staying up at night, transferring money from one account to another to make sure nothing bounces tomorrow.
Wow.
Right. No disrespect to anybody, because everybody likes nice things.
Yes.
And in today's society, it's the shiny objects. If you don't have what your neighbors have, then you're less than, trying to keep up to the Joneses. And we're all depleted.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all spending money on things we don't need, trying to impress people we don't like.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
So we're broke. We're spending too much money. Our sex life's in the toilet. I'm in my early 40s, mid 40s at this time.
Okay.
And I'm having major, and I suffer from depression.
Yep.
So the weight of the bricks on my shoulders are weighing down, and I have a nervous breakdown, what I would call a nervous breakdown. I have a moment in time where everything comes crashing down.
Okay.
I'm spiritually broke. I'm mentally broke. I'm, monetarily broke.
Okay.
My whole world's crashing down. Now I'm on all kinds of committees. I'm running a drugstore. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. And that all comes crashing down.
Oh, wow. What happened? If you don't mind my asking.
I lose the drugstore.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, that's not sexy for my wife, because you used to be the owner of the drugstore in town,
Yeah.
guy around town, and now you get your tail between your legs running to a hospital job.
Right.
The payment's going, right? So you have to tell a different story. You have to say,
Yeah.
I didn't like them anyway, and just move on.
But it's a loss of status in her eyes, isn't it?
It's a loss of status in my eyes and her.
In your eyes, and yeah, both.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Out of this contrast, I realized that I was lacking something, because I didn't have what it took to be successful. By that time I spent close to 20 years in the pharmacy business as an owner, trying to be successful, quote unquote, trying to make it. Atlantic Canada was over 100 Shoppers Drug Marts.
Sure.
I negotiated a high price going in. They needed an owner.
Okay.
But they red circled me for years.
Okay.
And it was like, I think I was 11 years in at the time when I left. But I could never make money, because we know why now, David. You and I could sit down over a beer and dissect that to death.
Yep.
I was chasing money. I was trying to achieve something instead of relaxing into who I am.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Hugh, you're telling my story. Oh, chasing money, getting all like, I got to go get it. Where's my money? And I'm not relaxing into it. Oh, boy. Oh, my stomach's getting all queasy. No, we got to keep it on you. Well, I'll tell my story in another episode. But, yeah. That's exactly, I'm hearing you. I'm so hearing this. And I'm sure everyone else who's listening to this is hearing it too. So this is a story a lot of men have, I think, gone through to some degree or another.
So what happens is, long story, this is a real interesting story. And again, it's another piece of my life we'll have to shelf for another talk.
Yeah.
But what happened was I was in the hospital. Hey, I went from owning a drugstore, pressure, all kinds, like while I was in town, two competitors opened up. They dropped their dispensing fee. I was getting nailed. Law of attraction was just pounding me. I was just, for all kinds of reasons, things weren't working out. And
do you think that you were kind of focusing on the negative at that time, or you were looking at it and bringing more of it in? Yeah.
Well, the more you look at the spiral, the downwards, you're going to get momentum whichever way you're looking. If you're looking optimistically, that's why they say it's so important to think positively, because if whatever you think about grows stronger in your life, right? So, I was circling the toilet. The business started circling the toilet. The relationship started circling, going down, and the momentum just carried me like a rapid, raging river, right?
Like you're a raft going down the rapids. Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Now I got a good job. I got a pension.
Okay.
My status per se, but who gives a shit? I survived. I landed on my feet.
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah.
Good that way.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I went from running a store, businessman, dispensing, to punching in a code at 9 o'clock in the morning, leaving at 4:30 at night, seeing my kids. My kids were so young by the time I left the drugstore business that they hardly remember me owning a drugstore at that time.
Okay.
They don't even remember.
Okay.
So I'm Mr. Dad. I'm home more. I'm more relaxed. So I have a reprieve once I went into hospital pharmacy. I tell people to lick my wounds. I felt like I failed.
Yeah.
And so I'm in this safe little cocoon of a hospital, and I'm just licking my wounds, saying, okay, what went wrong? Where did I drop the ball? How could this all have come crashing down?
Right.
So my intention was to go into hospital pharmacy for a year,
okay,
and then get my bearings, because it wasn't my thing.
Sure.
A people person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 1 year, believe it or not, turned into 9.
Wow.
9. So I checked out of life. I used to be this ambitious businessman. I just said, fuck it. Who needs it? I'll just punch the clock, collect my pension. I don't need that bullshit anyway.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But after 7, 8 years, I got thinking, maybe I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. So my teachability started going up.
Yeah. Yes.
So one guy in the pharmacy was taking this leadership course.
Okay.
And he'd come down every Monday, and he'd be all pumped up. Oh, my God, what a session that was. What a session. And I was like, what are you learning? He said, you got to take this next year. They only took one pharmacist a year in the program.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, I don't need to take no success program. I said, I was successful. I ran a business for 12 years, 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
So my ego took over.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But then I started thinking, you know what? if I was rocking it on all levels, I'd still be growing, still be doing something. But here I am justifying my existence in the basement of a hospital.
Yep.
And no disrespect to anybody. It's just that wasn't my path. It wasn't my trajectory.
No.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to take that damn course.
Okay.
And I'm not only going to take it, I'm going to rock it.
Right on.
That nugget that I was missing.
Yes.
That piece, so that I can be successful again.
Yes. Yes.
So I made a decision. You know how important a decision is, eh?
Decisions are everything, Hugh. I mean, a decision is everything. You make a decision, everything will, the universe will fold and comply with whatever decision you make when you really make it and you decide that's it, period.
That's it, period. Because I hesitated. I said, nah. And then I thought, you know what? You don't know it all because you're not doing it all.
That's right.
Okay, I'll take your damn course.
Okay.
Rock it.
Right on.
So the course was a year long, and this all ties into my story.
Okay, yeah.
Year long. But it had spiritual undertones.
Okay.
A success. They were training people in the hospital to become managers.
Okay.
But the undertones were spiritual in nature.
Interesting.
I had a very spiritual part of me that was always there.
Yeah.
But this lit a fire under me.
Okay.
And I started understanding the law of attraction. For the first time, I started seeing where I dropped the ball. I started understanding how the universe worked a little bit better.
Okay.
Good at it. I was naturally, because they were tapping into my soul.
Right.
Tapping into the part of me that I was sweeping under the rug.
This sounds like one hell of a corporate training program.
It was unbelievable.
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And they scrapped it out. But you know what? The people they put through there are all managing around the hospital now.
Okay.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Wow.
And it was so brilliant for me that I had an awakening, for lack of a better word. I had a spiritual awakening. Something happened where I had a shift in my awareness.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
And I just got fired up, and I said, you know what? I quit all. At one point, I said, I gotta do something different in my life. If you want things in your life to change, you have to
change things in your life. That's right. Yes.
So I said, I'm going to start doing stuff for me, because the light bulb went off when we were doing a questionnaire, and it said, you know, what were you, when you were a little boy, what were you passionate about? What things have you done that maybe you might have let go of, and passions that you just didn't nurture, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Christ, I did the thing. I used to be in the band. I used to sing. I have a beautiful voice, and I stopped doing all of that stuff.
Okay.
All of it. I just put it all into the business, and I was paddling upstream.
Right.
Full-time job. So I said, I'm going to start singing again. So I joined the men's choir.
Oh, right on.
And the guy, I don't want to get into it too much. Bottom line, the guy that directed the choir also runs a recording studio.
Okay.
And at the end of our leadership course, we had to do a dissertation about what we learned in the course.
Okay.
And I said to the teacher, I said, can I do mine in music? Can I do it in song? Can I sing instead of say it? Because that's been the whole theme. She said, yeah, if it makes sense, if it ties in, you can do it. So I go into the recording studio. I put the earphones on, and I'm in a booth, in a professional, like award-winning, 10-year-in-a-row award-winning recording studio.
Wow.
And I did a demo of the song "World" by Five for Fighting. World.
Mm-hmm.
You Google that, the lyrics of that song.
Yeah.
It's deep. And I thought to myself, I cannot undo this experience. This is magical.
Wow.
So I went on to record a full 12-track CD.
Wow.
In 2007. Okay. I did another CD in 2009. So I have two. One was nominated for an East Coast Music Award.
Wow.
And, okay, so that's another story. So back to the marriage.
Yeah.
Back to the marriage. Now, I'm spiritual. I'm developing this spiritual part of me.
Yeah.
Is in Hawk. Not really enjoying her job. We're growing in different directions.
Okay.
And one day I'm down on the couch in the basement meditating.
Okay.
She comes down. Where are you? Yui, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? She comes down around the corner. She looks at me on the couch and says, what the hell are you doing?
Are you sitting there like in the lotus position with your finger? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
And that is so out of character for her, so out of character for me. She's like, are you losing your mind or what?
Okay.
And I was insulted, but I never forgot it.
Okay.
At the end of the leadership thing, I went to a retreat.
Okay.
I was brought up Catholic, so it was a Catholic retreat where they just kind of, they get you all revved up. It's all guys that have broken. Maybe their brother committed suicide, or they left a marriage, or they're broken. It's
sure.
Broken guys, and they put them in a room. They lock the doors for the weekend. They feed them,
Okay.
and they make them sing, and they have they try to bring out the God in them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So this, on top of my own spiritual awakening, this was like at the very end. So I was like on super juice. I was like fucking.
You were going, yeah.
Rocking it, right?
Wow.
So I come out of that, and I met a guy that was a First Nations guy that had tried to commit suicide, and the branch broke, and he ended up surviving. Anyway, there's a residential area, reservation, not far from us, and he said, you got to come up the mountain with me.
Okay.
You know, you got to come and experience this. So anyway, long story short, I started doing things for me, focusing on myself.
Okay.
But I went all in.
Okay.
I was going to quit my job at the hospital.
Okay.
I out of the blue, the phone rang for a company, a small drugstore company, where the owner got in deep trouble.
Okay.
They needed somebody. I picked up the phone. I said, no, not interested. Hung up the phone.
Wow.
Months later, they called again. Just come out for supper with us, right?
Okay.
I come out. They said, here's the keys to the store. Take it for a test run. If you don't like it after a year, give us the keys. We're not going to charge you for the store. Just make a go of it. Just see what you can do.
Wow.
And I said, I'm leaving. So I left the hospital. But long story short, through all that, our marriage was imploding.
Okay.
We were not connecting. It was like while I was going through all this, I was inspired, and I was leaving her in the dust.
Okay. It sounds like growing in different directions. Like you were just going in this direction. Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't about infidelity.
Okay.
But we had an argument after that inspirational weekend where they pulled all these guys together for that weekend.
Yeah.
I was high as a kite. Like I was just inspired to no end, but I was like almost hypomanic, right?
Okay.
And and we had a fight because she wanted to keep me who I was.
Yes.
And I had all these ideas that I wanted to do that were locked inside of me my whole life, and I was going to do them, and I wasn't listening to anybody, including her.
Okay.
And I said things to her that night because she was rocking me. She was trying to put me in a box, and the cat was already out of the box.
Okay. Okay.
And I said things, and I looked in her eyes, and I knew that moment our marriage was over.
Wow.
I knew that moment. It was such a heightened experience.
Yep.
So anyway, it's complicated, but so I'm growing. I'm inspired.
Sure.
Marriage is crumbling.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's no. Well, let me make a few comments to you. You know, that is there are some threads in there that are so common to experiences that people go through. Frankly, there were some things you were talking about that sounds like some chapters out of my life. I was just in a 5.5-year relationship with a beautiful young woman. I thought I'd be with her forever. And she was more like you in that, I don't know. It's like, you know, cause she definitely had bouts of depression and had certain issues and was starting to really get a handle on it and go in a different direction. But she was kind of going so far in a different direction that she was leaving me in the dust. And
interesting.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to us.
Yeah. And it's like, I can almost kind of know what your wife was feeling in a sense, because
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, because like there's a sense of like, wait a minute, you know, you are this person and now you're becoming a different person. You know, what the hell, man? You know, we had a deal.
Who is this guy? Because it's not the guy I married.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened.
Damn it, I went through that twice. I went through that with my ex-wife too. Of course, she was like kind of manic. But yeah, it's like, wait a minute, who are you? Where's my wife? You know, because when somebody starts acting very different. And what I guess, and you know, listening to you tell the story from your perspective, you know, it's like you had some serious forces acting on you. You know, I mean, things coming forth that had been suppressed your entire life. You're helping me understand my most recent ex-girlfriend who I was supposed to marry and didn't. So thanks, Hugh. This is turning into David therapy. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like it's very hard for someone who doesn't know to be a space for that, because it's like her whole world's being rocked, It's like all the stability.
And her interests are changing, and you're like, hold it now. I used to like it when you like this. Now you're going in a completely opposite direction.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that ride.
Exactly, and so
You're bringing up in me compassion for what my wife went through, because I had no patience for it, because I suppressed my wishes and my things my whole life.
Right.
And I was in the middle of being the breadwinner and trying to raise kids and a family, and
yes,
putting money in a bucket that had a hole in it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so like I'm seeing through your story, isn't it interesting that you're the guy?
I'm the guy.
You're a guy, but you're going through what my wife went through.
I went through what the wife went through. And it's funny because it's like the stresses acting on us in both situations are very real. But it's like if you don't have the common experience with the other person, you kind of can't see what they're going through. You're going through your own stuff. I'm having conflict with this person. It's this horrible spiral, this downward spiral that you're both stuck in together. And
it's being pulled apart because you can't keep. I'm changing so fast.
Yeah.
I'm changing so fast that you have to change who you really are.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's
no.
impossible.
You can, and I get that. Believe me. Yeah, you and I understand personal transformation and the momentum that you can pick up, but that can be very disconcerting when you are in a marital partnership and one of you starts going like a bullet and the other one's not. That can really take the equilibrium out from the relationship.
Well, I mean, one person's, it's like all of a sudden you were on one radio station and all of a sudden you're on two separate radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you can't see what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not, and I look at you and I say, you're not coming fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep up.
Right.
Because I'm changing. And you're thinking like, the hell you are.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to clean the toilets.
You're right. Right.
Like, you're out recording, now we're broke and you're out borrowing $12,000 to record a new album.
Yeah, right.
What are you going to do? Are you going to be a rock star at 46 years old? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, come on. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? Yeah, right.
No, what's wrong with you? It's ridiculous because I'm taking from our funds.
Sure.
And there was nobody that was going to stop me.
Right.
Nobody.
All right, Hugh, I got to admit, if I was your wife at that point, I might have been freaking out too. But
nobody's going to stop me.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah.
Like the first album is a Christmas album. Why did I do a Christmas album? Well, I picked a cousin of mine who's a beautiful singer.
Okay.
It's 12 tracks. I have people. We sold over close to 5,000 albums out of my trunk.
Damn.
Like I used to go to crash shows.
Wow.
And it was nominated for an East Coast Music Award. Like Eastern Canada is known for its music. And
okay.
It was nominated. And
damn.
I know people that tell me every day it's the album's 2007, 12 years old now.
Uh-huh.
People still say it's the first Christmas album I pull out every year.
Well,
your album.
And if you don't mind my asking, Hugh, I mean, I've always heard that recording artists love to do a Christmas album and like TV shows love to do a Christmas episode because you're always going to sell it again at Christmas time every year. Do you get more sales every year at Christmas, or is that?
I mean, I gave up the ghost 6 years ago. Right?
Okay.
I mean, I beat that drum year after year. I mean, I could still go out today.
Okay.
Like I used to get paid $45 an hour as a pharmacist.
Uh-huh.
I'd hire a pharmacist to sit in my store so I could sit at a craft show selling CDs.
Wow.
I was that passionate about it.
Damn.
Because it's a great album.
Okay.
It's a fantastic album.
I want to hear this album sometime.
And I did it because I'm a businessman. I thought, you know what, Christmas.
Yeah.
It comes around every year.
Yes.
And if you do it, and plus we were inspired. You can hear my voice going crazy as this interview goes, but
yeah,
we were inspired as we were recording it. So it was infused with a spirit that you can't even mimic.
Wow.
I remember I was at the recording studio and the choir director, the guy that owns the studio,
mm-hmm.
I was looking out the window because it's in a remote area. Beautiful landscape, trees, and in the fall, the leaves were changing color and everything. And I'm staring out the window
mm-hmm.
in total bliss in the middle of the recording session.
Uh-huh.
And the guy comes up to me and says, what are you looking at? Is there a fox or something?
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking, do I need a fox to be in love with life and everything that's going on. Like, this is amazing. Look at the
Right.
view here.
Right.
Like, I was just totally gassed, right?
Damn.
So here, get this. My marriage is crumbling, breaking down. Nobody in my family, when my grandfather and grandmother died on my dad's side, they had 150 descendants. Nobody separates. Like,
Okay.
strong Catholic faith, right?
Sure, yeah.
And here I am, circling the toilet, relationship-wise,
Yep.
and rocket out of space personally
Yep.
at the same time.
So, Hugh, I'm just keeping an eye on the clock, and I want to get through the rest of your story. Tell me about the divorce and separation happens. How did that all go?
So we separated at Christmas 2009. I recorded the first album in 2007. The second album was done in November of 2009.
Okay.
And I knew coming into the end of that second album that we were done.
Okay.
So there was one song I wasn't sure what I was going to put on. Second album was an inspirational album.
Okay.
And she used to listen to a song, I Love the Way You Love Me, every day going to work.
Okay.
And she was fantasizing about the man that she wished she was with in this song.
Okay.
So I did a last-ditch effort to save my wife and my marriage, and
Okay.
I recorded that song as the last entry on my album.
Okay.
We separated December after Christmas.
Okay.
Get the family together and announced that we were breaking up.
Okay.
Tears, as you can imagine.
I can imagine.
Unbelievably emotional.
Yeah.
And I told everybody moving forward that we separated, quote unquote, lovingly.
Okay.
I understood that, you can't hang on to something that's not yours.
Right.
And that sometimes things just don't work. I'm inspired.
Yes.
I've got a new store. I got albums. People are loving my voice and loving my albums. I'm growing, and my marriage is dissolving at the same time.
Yeah.
So I moved out of the house.
Okay.
And I moved next door.
Okay.
The next door house.
Then you moved right next door. Okay.
I moved next door because they used it as a summer home.
Okay.
And I didn't want to disrupt our family too much.
Okay.
So I moved next door.
So you were close for the kids.
It was a mutual thing, so that I could be close to the kids and babysit and do stuff. And
Absolutely.
We weren't I didn't leave town.
Right.
Basically.
You weren't an absent dad.
That was a loving move, and we it wasn't easy because we were broke.
Sure.
And the other part of the story is I got rich after we separated. And you know what I tell people? And my lawyer says, you got to stop telling this story.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stop telling this story. I say, she left me, and then I divorced her.
Uh-huh.
And what really happened spiritually is she left me to let me focus on business to become the man she knew I could be.
Yeah, it was like an energetic release.
She released me, and I said, I'll fucking show you.
Yep.
I'll show you who can make money.
Yep.
And I put my head down. No kids. Well, she had the kids.
Yep.
But in a single man in an apartment, head down, and I just said, I will.
You didn't have an act.
That's it. Period.
You didn't have an active marriage to maintain. You were able to live the life of a single guy, nose to the grindstone. You're kind of like right where I'm at. That's like right where I'm at this moment in my life. You're at this nose to the grindstone.
But what I did do is I took that sexual energy and I transmuted it into, I'm figuring this shit out.
Hugh, in this podcast,
I talk about that chapter.
I can't tell you. I think just in the last episode we did, I often bring up chapter 11 in Think and Grow Rich, the mystery of sex transmutation. I talk about that chapter all the time because it's so powerful, and men don't understand it. Yeah, buy that damn book. Read every chapter, but that chapter is so important for men today.
Well, it goes right over your head because if you're broken, you can't hear it.
Yeah.
But read it over and over again, and it'll sink in. There's a line in that book, and I want to tell this to your listeners, and it's going to hit a chord with them.
Yeah.
I was washed up, broke, 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, broke. I had been an owner.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm dividing assets I don't have. We're splitting a house that I don't own. Like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm broke, and I'm cutting it in half.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Toilet I go.
Yep.
But there's a line in Think and Grow Rich, and I don't know what page it's on,
Mm-hmm.
but read the book and find it.
Okay.
And Napoleon Hill says men do not hit their, and they said men because that's what they talked back then.
Yeah.
Men do not hit their financial stride until between the ages of 50 and 60.
Yep.
Because by that time, you've made your mistakes, you've had your divorce, or you've kept your marriage together, or you've learned, or you've figured out what doesn't work. Your kids are gone. They're through school. You've been through the school of hard knocks, and now you can put the pedal to the metal.
You've led with your dick enough. You've made the mistakes. Yeah.
I was 45 years old. I read that line, and I said, holy shit.
Yep.
I got my whole world ahead of me.
That's
so it's
right.
all about belief, right?
Yes.
It's in Think and Grow Rich. And Napoleon Hill's like the master.
Yes.
And he told me that I'm not even near hitting my financial stride.
All right, you're just getting started.
Down and bang.
Bang. So you just moved next door. You found your purpose as a man. You started to really hit your stride.
Yep.
All right, so I'm seeing where the success story comes in here. I mean, you really were switched on. You found your passion even before your marriage totally fell apart. You were finding the passion, that passionate well within you with the music. And
it was a paradox.
Yeah.
Because when I took the store, I said, I'll take your store.
Yeah.
But I'm working 9 to 5, and I'm not working any weekends.
Okay.
And I'm going to record my album in the evening, and when I want to go to a craft show, I'm going to a craft show.
So you're taking life on your terms. You know, something a younger man might not have had the chutzpah and the balls to do. You know, you were ready at that point.
Guess what the owner of the company thought?
What do you think?
I like this guy.
Yeah, he probably respected you more. He's like, yeah, this guy's not taking any shit. I like this guy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. And see, that's the beauty of being, in your 40s, you've been through the hard knocks, you've been through the shit. Now you're like, no, screw it. I'm doing the craft show. I'm working 9 to 5. I'm not working weekends. Some 16-year-old kid can work on the weekends or whatever. You know what I mean? And you know the price to put on yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I didn't make $1 million at the craft show, but I want to tell you, when I sat through a weekend and I made $2,600 just selling albums, just sitting in front of people selling albums that I sang on.
Yeah,
that's pretty inspiring.
That is inspiring.
If I can do it, then what else can I do? What else do I not know?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? The guy in the studio says, I don't know. There's not many people that sold that many albums. I mean, you talk to any small indie recorder, you're going to sell it. You're going to sell one to your mother,
right? In
your neighborhood. There's 20 albums, and you're going to sell 100, maybe 150. And then you go to shows, and you sell 10 every couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
4,000, 5,000, 6,000 albums. Like,
that's a lot
going on there.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
For a little shitty, just for a small town guy that, it isn't his first gig, right?
Right.
Pharmacist.
Yeah.
Second gig.
Right? Yeah, right. It's the second gig.
So anyway, we digress.
Yeah, that's okay. So 5 years, years go by. A few years go by of this. Yeah.
Put yourself in Sandra's shoes. She let me go.
Yep.
She let me go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm becoming the most successful eligible bachelor in the community.
Right on.
The sexiest, happiest, most financially successful, attractive, passionate guy in the community.
Hugh, I'm going to retire, and you can run the Alpha Shift. You're really more qualified to do this than me. You are like the prototype of what I try to create with all of this. You literally are it.
But you're the guy. Because the moment I met you, I knew you and I had a story.
For sure.
The moment I met you.
For sure. Oh man, I felt it. I felt it too. Yeah. We had a connection. Yeah. And but yeah, you are the embodiment of what I'm trying to do here. I mean, you literally became. Yeah. So she lets you go. The woman you love lets you go.
I didn't design it that way.
No.
I fell into the bucket.
No.
I fell into a bucket of shit, came out smelling like a rose.
Yeah, and you followed your path. You followed your own authentic path is what you did. You found who you really are.
That's the crux of what happened.
Yeah.
That is the takeaway. Write that down.
Yes.
That is the key.
I've got a notebook right here.
Self.
Yes.
And everything else follows.
That's right. You discover your true self.
Things together with the old girlfriend
or
the wife, you're a puppy dog you're following. It's unattractive and it ain't working. But man, when you hook into your own power, When you're on fire, people come from miles away just to watch.
Yeah, when you're on fire, people come from miles away just to watch you burn. And let me give you an allegory too. You said to that employer, to that guy, to the guy with the drugstore, okay, I'll take the store, but I'm working 9 to 5. I'm not working weekends and doing my craft show. When you take that energy into a relationship with a woman, it's like, look, honey, I love you, but I'm working 9 to 5 or whatever it is. You know, look, I'm golfing. I have a mission in life and I love you, but if I fall off my mission, you're not going to love me anymore. So this is how it's going to be. She's going to be like, wow, he's strong. All right. You know, and then she's going to like that, even if you think you'd get flack. Yeah, it's sexy as hell. You know, and that's the magic. Yeah, that's the magic.
They always say, oh, he's well-trained. Bullshit. She wants you to stand up and be a man.
That's exactly right.
She let me go because I wasn't being one.
That's right. The culture teaches people exactly the wrong way.
Right?
Yeah, it's like sitcoms and the media. They want you to be a well-trained good guy. That's all bullshit. That's not what women really want. And you know that. You know that experientially. I know that experientially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had, just as an aside, I had 2 one-year relationships in the 5 years that Sandra and I weren't together.
Okay.
One was with a knockout. She goes to the gym. Everybody, you know what I mean? Real.
Sounds like my kind of girl. Yeah.
and you know, that was great, but it wasn't the depth that I was looking for. It just didn't work out.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I had only 2 relationships. I didn't run around town, but I enjoyed them thoroughly. It was amazing. It was fun. And I remember talking to this girl, this one that went to the gym. Mm-hmm. One time she was asking me about my past. You know how they do that. They said, well, tell me about this, tell me about that. And I was telling the story, and I got into my autonomic nervous system. I just started talking subconsciously as I was explaining, right? I was in flow.
Sure.
And I remember ending my sentence with, and that's when that's when I fell in love with my wife.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm talking to my new girlfriend about me falling in love with the woman I just divorced.
Wow.
Like, what the hell's wrong with that?
Yeah.
There's something still burning there. Right? What the hell? So we can get into details of how we got back together. But anyway, where do you want to take it?
Well, I got about 8 minutes. We got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes, Hugh. So give me just like a brief synopsis of how you got back together. We're going to wrap it up into a nice happy ending, and then I'm going to wrap up this show.
Okay. So she was still attracted to me. She invited me. Her mom got dementia. I saw her underbelly. She work wasn't as important as it used to be. I thought, gee, she's looking a little more attractive to me as well.
Okay.
She invited me over to supper. Once we went to hug, just very platonic. She invited me a second time. I went to hug her. I moved my head, and she put her lips on my lips, and it's like, oh
boy,
great, here we go. So I said, and it was okay. I said, look, it took a while to unravel this. It's going to take a while to put it back together.
Sure.
If you want to go down that road, great. If you're expecting me to move in tomorrow, it ain't going to happen.
So you're like doing the whole, I'm going to work 9 to 5 and I'm not working weekends. You just did that right there.
I did that with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Sexy. Yep.
So I stayed living in my own apartment. By the way, she kept the homestead burning for 5 years. 1 salary.
Wow.
2 kids.
Okay. So she had her shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I stayed in an apartment for 5 years dating her.
Wow.
5 years.
Wow.
And I stayed over the odd weekend.
Okay.
And the reason is that she wasn't on my vibration. She wasn't quite where I wasn't going to settle. I was never going to go back to the old relationship.
Sure.
You got to pony up. You got to come to where I am.
Yeah, that's right.
Or it's going to take another 5 years.
Right.
Time in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other story of how we get back together. Anyway, 5 years later, interesting story. How long do I got?
We got a couple minutes left.
Yeah. Anyway, so she had a life event. We can talk about it in another show.
Okay.
She had a life event. I thought she needed to change in order for us to get back together. I was all about the money.
Sure.
Because she hadn't changed enough in that sense.
Okay.
I almost lost her, and I said, you know what? She doesn't need to change. It's me that needs to change. I got to let go of the money.
Boom.
And in that instant, I had bought her the diamond ring in last December 2018, held it in my pocket for 7 months, and she knew I had it.
Wow.
And then she had a life event. I almost lost her, and I proposed to her the next weekend. We get married in the mortar barn, and the rest is history.
That is such...
And I am head over heels in love with her. She gets up at 5:30. I'm not a morning person. I jump out of bed. I follow her to the bathroom. I follow her to the coffee machine, and we're just head over heels in love.
Oh man, good. That is such, that I love that. Good on both of you. You know, and it wasn't just from, I'm gathering just from what I listened to you, just what you said the last few minutes. It wasn't the sort of thing. It wasn't a flippant or whimsical decision to get back together. You stayed in that apartment for 5 years. You dated. You were not going to settle, and so you guys on the other side, on the flip side, did all the work of creating a powerful relationship, not rushing into things, building a strong foundation. You did it like after the divorce. You actually did all that. That's amazing. You know, and I'm really
good to have you listen.
Yeah, and I'm really glad I got it. I wanted to hear that. We'll do this again, Hugh. You've got more to tell. We could do this all day. You know, but but wow. I mean, what a story, and it's really good to hear. You know, because
people hope, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because some people are looking for a magic bullet, and yes, there is hope. You got to do the work. You got to grow as a person. You got to set standards. You've got to do the work. You might have to live next door in an apartment for 5 years and have patience. Realize that, and I love what you said, you realized that it was you who needed to change, not necessarily her. That is such a key to understanding life. It's everyone else doesn't have to change. You know, it's like it's really
change anybody else.
No, and you don't need to.
If you're the only person in the equation that needs to change, that's easy. Well,
yeah.
It's not easy, but it's easier than changing the world.
Absolutely, right? Because you're the only one you can change. You can't change other people. That's just an exercise in total frustration.
But the interesting thing is when you change, the world changes.
Yes. And the people you wanted to change, they will change in relation to you.
They will change.
Yes.
They will change.
Hugh, my buddy, I love you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. They're going to kick me out of the studio in a minute. But we have got a dynamite show. I can't wait to get this thing up. And and we will talk again soon, my friend. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your heart. Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again.
All right. Me too. I'll talk to you soon, Hugh. All right.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.